The world is nuts. The Associated Press, here we go again. Here's what the Associated Press had to say about Iman Khalif, the XY chromosome female, I guess, that's fighting in the women's boxing championship. They're claiming racism and slavery are the reasons why Americans are upset. Really? That's why? That's the reason. All right, for female athletes of color, scrutiny around gender rules and identity is part of being, is part of a long trend. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you know it's even part of a longer trend, keeping chicks boxing against chicks and men boxing against men in the Olympics. However long the Olympics has been in there, or boxing has been in the Olympics, dudes boxing dudes and chicks boxing chicks has always been the thing. And it's also been a thing, at least since the 70s, that, you know what? We don't gas it up. We don't inject it. We don't inject a woman becoming a dude or dude-ish and then swimming like the East Germans. Here's a few of these beauties that come from the Associated Press. Listen to this. Female athletes of colors have historically faced disappropriate scrutiny and discrimination when it comes to sex testing and false accusations that they are male or transgender, historians and anthropologists say. All right, really? Let me explain something to you. In the Olympics, in NCAA sports, and anything I've ever been in, everybody gets tested. Everybody. Women, men, whatever. Want to know if you're a chick or a dude. It's automatic. Want to know if you're smoking that weed, that ganja, whether you're doing that crack, whether you're injecting that horse. That's been going on forever, you're right. Regardless of differences in sex or hormones, women of color and black women in particular have often been subjected to stereotypes that portray them as more masculine. Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe, but so what? I mean, good for them. I mean, hey, but that doesn't mean that they're tested any differently, not in the Olympics. In the Olympics, you're supposed to, and I've gone over this every day for a while now, in the Olympics, you're supposed to test everybody, and it is supposed to be the most stringent testing that there is. The International Boxing Association, the IBA, banned this woman, guy, whatever, because she failed chromosome tests, gender tests, and reportedly had incredibly high testosterone. Now, look, if you want to base that on woman of color, great. I base it on participation. If you're going to participate in an NCAA basketball tournament, after a game, you're going to take a piss test. If you lose, you don't have to take a piss test. If you win, you got to take a piss test. And guess what? That's both men and women, black and white. Now, you can say anything. Dakiches have always been seen as more masculine. Nothing we can do about it. Seems racist. Does. Our Serbian Polish heritage deems us more masculine. We would be the guy that got his schlong caught over the pole vault. That's why I never pole vaulted or high jumped. It's like a fin. I didn't want to have to get over with my body and then get over with the big schlong. What are you talking about here? The definition of womanhood is often reliant upon westernized notions of women, white femininity or standards of white beauty, said Cheryl Cookie. Oh, professor of American Study and Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies at Purdue. If a female athlete doesn't fit into those white westernized standards, they're subject to these questions and their accusations. No, they're not. If they have XY chromosomes, they're subject to it. No, seriously, if they got a beard, maybe they're subject to it. It doesn't have to do anything to do with white beauty. Last I looked, I don't know about you, a lot of sisters in the Olympics. A lot of sisters in a lot of different sports in the Olympics, and nobody sits there regardless of whether or not you like Asia Wilson and says, hey, I wonder if she's a chick or a dude. But you get somebody that's been kicked out of the IBA, the International Boxing Association, isn't allowed to box, has failed multiple tests, and guess what? There's going to be questions. Big deal. That's easy. That's simple. You got to save the good race stuff. You can't just try to get everything in race, or guys like me make fun of it because it doesn't matter anymore when you cheapen it. Dehumanization and objectification stretches back, to chattel slavery, where enslaved black women were valued for auction based on their physical appearance and skills that were seen as more masculine. Yeah, all right, that doesn't have anything to do with the 2024 Olympics and drug testing. Nothing, zero zip. I mean, if you want to give us a history lesson, hey, go ahead. I don't know what to tell you. That's great. Yay, Rock, go fight, win. But the truth of the matter is, Since they implemented supposedly stringent drug testing, everybody has been under the same umbrella in the Olympics. Michael Jordan, an African-American male in 1984, as a college kid, got drug tested the same as Steve Alford, a white male, on the same team. Serena Williams in the Olympics got drug tested the same way Dwight Stones, a high jumper, got drug tested in the 70s. That's it. Doesn't matter. This is just idiotic, but I get what they're doing. They're trying to put doubt in your mind and make everything racist. Dan, I'm looking at you. You seem to be a little darker skinned. Did you go out in the sun? Are you trying to be African American? Are you racist? I can see it all. Yeah, I think people like this woman, Cooksey, and maybe this is unfair, but I think she's full of shit. I think what people are trying to do is just stir stuff up and distract. We have a society that distracts. We have an entire society that distracts when it comes to politics. But we have a society that's distracting. Look, here's the deal. If you're going to enter a sport in the Olympics, you are supposed to be under the most stringent drug gender testing in the world. That's just the way the world works. Apparently, their stringent drug testing is not as stringent or maybe as disciplined as what the IBA that kicked this woman out 2 years ago. And, oh, by the way, I know this goes back to slavery, but I don't think they had appeals back in slavery. Both of the women that are deemed to be men and not allowed to participate, at least in the world championships, had the opportunity to appeal. And that appeal was going to be paid for by the IBA. They were literally going to pay the legal fees. They were literally going to pay any expenses these two women had. One of them, the Taiwanese lady, she dropped it, didn't even do it. The other one, the one we're talking about here, Imani Khalif, she, ladies and gentlemen, she appealed and then said no. So don't give me this crap about this is racist. There's nothing racist about this. If you want to give me a history lesson and you want to tell me that happened back in the days of slavery, then you know what? Go sing it to Kamala Harris, whose family owned slaves. Trump's didn't, Harris's did. Go tell her. Go tell her, get her head out of her ass or her mouth off of whatever and get it figured out. But I don't want to hear about it. I really don't. It's garbage, it's crap, it's pandering, it's divisive, it's stupid. Basically, it's stupid. Everybody's tested the same. Shut the living hell up. Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley has unretired. I sent him a text yesterday. Very disappointed I didn't get a text back. I like to brag when I get texts back from people, but that's okay. I'm a name drop. What do you want me to tell you? Charles Barkley came on our show and killed it. Let me tell you why Charles Barkley killed it. Because Charles Barkley has empathy for others. Charles Barkley is a fantastic teammate. The analysis that Charles Barkley gives you about a basketball game is good, great. He has experiences unlike any other and a logical thought process ingrained in his brain. Okay, but that has nothing to do with why ESPN will never match inside the NBA. Charles Barkley had this to say: I don't know if anyone ever gives it a chance to be honest with you. ESPN, which I love, they never give anyone a chance to get any chemistry. That's not true. No, I like Charles Barkley, but that's not true. The truth of the matter is they've always put people, and people that have been on there know this, including our friend Sage Steele. They know that, frankly, the NBA show, I was trying to think what it's called, I think it's Countdown, has never had the right chemistry, has never had people that we call it share the sugar, baby. Share the sugar, be a good teammate. Barkley's the ultimate teammate. Barkley doesn't have to talk. Barkley can just sit there. Barkley isn't so insecure that he can't take barbs. Inside the NBA has always had the person that wants to talk and give a take. They've never had chemistry, and it isn't because they haven't had enough time. It's because they got the wrong people on there. They got egomaniacs on there. You go to ESPN, you become an egomaniac. It's just the way it is. I heard that Chimichanga talking yesterday about how ESPN has created stars like herself and other women. Like stars? Who calls himself a star? You become an idiot. You do, promise you. Anyway, they're all kind of throwing stuff at the wall. Like, let's put this group together. And they'll do it for 6 months to a year, and they're like, it didn't work. Well, you didn't give it a chance to work. It's easy to say after 24 years how great our show has been, and I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure we had some rocky roads at the beginning. I'm positive we had some rocky roads when Shaq first came on because it's always adjustment. He's right about that. when you have a TV show, you got to let it breathe. I'll be honest with you. When I started this show, I thought I knew what this show was supposed to be. And then all of a sudden, really smart people came in, like Aaron and Gary. And I thought about it the other day, actually. Now I kind of understand what this show is supposed to be. And this show has taken off, courtesy of a lot of people, including the Flying Nicks and Brooke and John Cassio and a lot of people. But the truth of the matter is shows do need time to develop, but they've had that. And the reason they've had to change people is because people have become pains in the ass. There's a little girl there right now named Andrea Carter. Andrea Carter is a nondescript woman of any kind of athletic success. She played at Tennessee. Okay. She's become the next it thing, and she's a complete pain in the ass. I was talking to some folks the other day inside that are there on the daily at ESPN as producers. And they're like, yeah, this woman says, well, I'll go talk to Jimmy Patero or Dave Roberts. Well, she's a little pain in the ass. They could get rid of her tomorrow and get somebody else in. But because she's been on some shows, she thinks she's something. That's what happens at ESPN. And you know what? That's fine. That's great. I don't really care. And Charles isn't really wrong. But the fact of the matter is, to have a good studio show, you've got to have intelligent people that don't take themselves too serious, that have a personality, that pay attention to one another. If you don't pay attention to one another, you got no shot. If you're just sitting here waiting to talk, but not actually listening to what the person said, all of a sudden, Kara Lawson is the coach at Duke. She's all of a sudden like this great philosopher. She was awful to work with. I liked her a lot. She's very nice. She did it, but she would say something and then stare at you. Like, I don't know, what do you want me to do? And then she complained to the bosses, Dan doesn't look at me. And I'm like, I'm not staring back at somebody that's a foot behind me. I'll look, we'll talk. There is a chemistry there. And ESPN's countdown has never found it. ESPN's countdown has always been awful. But here's another thing. ESPN's countdown has always done politics in an angry way. Jalen Rose got up there, and I think it was Jacob Blake. I can't follow who's alive and who's dead. Forgive me or how they died. But he got up there and he straight lied. He got up there and he straight lectured to us. Now, Barkley and Shaq and Kenny and Ernie have gotten a little political, but they do it in the way that we would all do it, kind of sitting around talking. You get your point in, you get your point across, but you do it in an okay way. Rose and others, Wilbon tries to be angry. Stephen A. Smith could never play basketball at any kind of level, so he tries to act like he's a tough guy. It just is unappealing. The set stinks. The set's awful. The people behind the scenes don't like working with the people on the screen. You just got to get someone like me in there that will be cool, be calm, and go, hey, look, here's what the deal is. I remember Sage Steele telling me that one time. She goes, they're too stupid, but you'd be the perfect guy for this set. I'm the perfect guy for every set. But that's just because I like to laugh at myself, listen, and then react. Listening is important, people. It just is. I'm sorry, but it is. Don't at me about it. I'm not having it. And by the way, we're in Monaco today with our glass. My mother got it for you. I've never been to Monaco. But cheers to Sir Charles making a comeback. We all knew he was like Ali. We all knew he wasn't going anywhere. Where's he going? What? What are you going to do? You got the greatest gig in television, although I must say it is a little difficult because you got to be there every night sitting around watching games and not falling asleep. That isn't easy. And that's not digging a ditch. It's not being a cop. It's not being a fireman. Don't get me wrong. But in terms of TV jobs, Charles basically goes from November through June, damn near every night or at least 4 nights a week. And then during the NCAA tournament, it seems like he's every night. And every night he's got to be at a certain level because everyone tunes in for Charles. But you know what? If you're an entertainer, boy, do you love that. You don't kind of like it. You absolutely love it. Viva la Charles. Keep going. Don't stop. Shaq, Kenny, I like chemistry with Charles. Ernie, fantastic. But viva, viva, viva la Charles. What other show you getting that? All right. The Olympic pole vaulter with the big schlong, Dan Dakich. Anthony Ammirati. Hey, he's Italian. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Next thing you know, Slick Nick's going to tell us that all Italians couldn't get over not only the pole, but that big fin that they're carrying. I know where this is coming. Well, Anthony Ammirati and his massive dong. Now, that's not my writing. That's the Knicks writing. But I'm like Ron Burgundy today. I'm just reading what they have to say. I'm not sure I've ever said dong instead of in only long duck dong in 16 candles. But anyway, let me read what the boys said here. Top story number 3. Olympic pole vaulter Anthony Ammirati and his massive dong has received an offer from an adult film site after the Frenchman's hog. Yes, this is what these guys are having me read. This is what they're having Ron Burgundy read. I got dong and I got hog in here. After the Frenchman's hog hit the crossbar on his jump, resulting in him finishing 12th in the competition. The 20-year-old pole vaulter, who immediately went viral after his humongous dong hit and knocked the crossbar off, causing him to finish 12th in the competition, has now been offered a new side gig in adult films. According to TMZ, the adult-centric webcam site Cam Soda has already offered Ammirati $250,000 for a 60-minute web stream to show off what was really under the compression shorts he was wearing when he attempted to clear the 5.7-meter vault height. There you go. If it was up to me, I'd award you for what everyone else saw, your talent below the belt. As a lover of crotch-centric activities, please put this on there so it's not me saying this. I'd like to offer you up to $250,000 in exchange for a 60-minute webcam show in which you show off your goods minus the crossbar, of course. Here's a little bit. Well, all right. What is this? Here's a little bit of Ammirati's social media blowing up with followers since the incident. There you go. Man, what? What is this? I don't see it. 570, what? Am I missing something? It's going. It's going. Is it going more? Is it going more? What are we doing? I thought this was a SOT. Doesn't a SOT mean sound? Do I have sound here? Oh, man. All right. His meat cost him the gold, but it will keep him paid after the Olympics. You guys are sick. You guys, what his meat, dong, schlong. You guys are gross. What's wrong with you peoples? Seriously. What's wrong with you guys? His follower count kept going up every time he missed. All right. I get it. Man, I literally am Ron Burgundy. Nick, did you write that stuff? Who's writing this stuff about schlongs and dongs and meat? What are we doing?
No, I didn't write it. The other Nick wrote it, but I approved the hell out of it. Once I was reading it, as he was typing it, I was laughing my ass off.
As an Italian, are you proud?
Well, he's French, so I can't really.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
dude,
that's
you even
sad.
wrote
the French.
Bro, you even read it in the Slug. We didn't call him a Frenchman for no reason.
I'm Ron Burgundy today. I want you to know I'm Ron Burgundy. I got up early. I did Charlie's show. I did yoga. I'm so hepped up on endorphins and stuff that I am Ron Burgundy. So I will read anything you guys put up there, okay? All right? That's the way I'm going today.
Godspeed.
Noah Lyles made some comments about how are you in the NFL? How are you in the NFL calling yourself world champions here's what he said. Put it up here. World champions of what? The United States, the Olympic sprint champ said during a media session August 2023. Don't get me wrong. I love the USA at times. but that ain't the world. There ain't no flags in the NBA. I don't know what that means. There ain't no flags in the NBA. I don't know what that means. Anyway, Colts linebacker and noted get your ass kicked every Sunday, worst tackling percentage in the league, Zaire Franklin, although he may have led the league in tackles, says Noah Lyles is my least favorite American. Good morning. All right. So Ziggy Smalls, a.k.a. Zaire Franklin, doesn't like winners. See, you got to understand something here in the great state of Indiana, in the great city of Indianapolis. We haven't won anything here in a long time. Ever since the Colts got rid of Ryan Grigson, it's been mediocrity, and talking. Talking, and more talking. Ziggy Smalls, a.k.a. Zaire Franklin, actually got offended because a guy said world champions of what? What? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? So some nondescript seventh-round pick, who it's a good story, or sixth-round pick, whatever he was. It's a good story, his story. But Ziggy Smalls here, a.k.a. Zaire Franklin, misses more tackles than anybody in the league by percentage. He should not talk. When Lyles first made his comments, the dig was directed at NBA players who call themselves world champs of all sports. Lyles picked basketball to ridicule American excellence, meaning the guy certainly deserves some pushback. World champions of what? The United States? Don't get me wrong, I love the USA at times. Well, at times because, but that ain't the world. There ain't no flags in the NBA. And Ziggy Smalls took it bad. Man, I got to tell you, I'm a little shocked that Zaire Franklin made this show. Zaire Franklin hasn't won squat. In fact, in the weakest division in football, maybe not this year, but certainly historically, since Ziggy Smalls, a.k.a. Zaire Franklin, has been in the league, all Zaire Franklin has done is miss tackles, make a few, and talk. Just shut up. The guy just won Olympic gold medal, you punk. He's not a punk. Ziggy Smalls. He kicked my ass today, tomorrow, and the next day. But I'd put up these dukes. I'd give you a snuckle sandwich. But anyway, how about Colts players just shut the living hell out? How about they just shut up? Just shut up. Until you win something, shut up. They're all stealing money. That's all they're doing. Baltimore Ravens corner Marlon Humphrey calls out United States Olympic gymnast Simone Biles and Jordan Childs after they placed second, third in the Olympics in a floor exercise competition, and at the medal ceremony, bowing to first place winner Rebecca Andrade out of Brazil during a photo op. Says Marlon Humphrey, this is literally disgusting. Really, Marlon, they were doing it playfully. Seriously. What's wrong with you? I mean, I know African Americans dug it when white people idiotically were bowing to white people and, bowing to African American people. Bowing seemed to be the thing. Simone Biles and Jordan Childs showed love. They showed love. They had fun with it. But you're not allowed to do that because Marlon Humphrey doesn't like it. Okay, Marlon Humphrey. There you go. Yeah. Good for Marlon Humphrey. Marlon Humphrey isn't happy. And if Marlon Humphrey ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. You ever notice that dudes that are actually dudes in these sports don't say idiotic things like that? Marlon Humphrey's a nice player. Ziggy Smalls, a.k.a. Zaire Franklin's a nice player, but they're nondescript. They go, if somebody said Marlon Humphrey's retiring, you'd go, oh, who now? If somebody said Zaire Franklin's retiring, you'd go, what? Huh? What? Yeah, you would. That's all you would do. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, they're inconsequential. They don't matter. They'll take their money. Here's what they'll both do. You ready? They'll take their money and start a gym or become an assistant football coach at the local high school. That's what they'll do. I mean, that's all we get out of ex-NFL players that don't get arrested. That's it. There was a linebacker with the Colts named Pat Anger. Pat Anger led the league in tackles. He's basically Zaire Franklin. Colts got good when Pat Anger left. So anyway, he came on my show and he was awful and whatever. He kind of ripped me and I said, dude, let me guess. You are currently a weight coach or you're an assistant football coach or you own a gym. Guess what? Strength coach. That's all. If you don't get arrested as an ex-NFL player, or you don't open a music studio, you become a strength. That's all they give to our society. That's it. That's all they got. So, you know what? I don't want to hear from them. I don't want to hear from any of them. Certainly about Olympic champions. Certainly about, gold medal winners. Certainly about the world's fastest man. But we got to. We just got to. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Senator Marsha Blackburn, she's a Republican out of Tennessee, called on NCAA President Charlie Baker to make changes in the organization's rule book when it comes to fairness in women's sports, requiring that only, biological female students compete in women's sports. What? Seems weird. Isn't it amazing, though? Isn't it astounding that this is the conversation we're having? Like, we've gone backwards. If you think about it in women's sports, it used to be more opportunities. Now it's like, hey, can we keep dudes and their meat, schlong, and dong out of women's locker rooms? Think about that. Now, if Marlon Humphrey wants to say something is truly disgusting, a dude walking into a women's locker room, sitting there fully intact, probably erect, changing clothes to get ready to compete against women. Remember when not a single Democrat in Congress, not one, voted for the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act? Not a single Democrat voted for that. It's like we get in Pelosi's office, there it is, and we gotta just say stupid. Here's what we're gonna do, guys. Put your hand in. Don't vote for women fairness in sports on 3. 1, 2. The level of idiocy. This is from Marsha Blackburn. While men may have inherent athletic advantages, they have no advantages over women in their level of passion or drive or desire to compete, Blackman said in a letter. The very bedrock of sports is the exhibition of a commitment to excellence. Yes, grace under pressure, fair play among competitors, all of which is threatened absent an even playing field. This is amazing. This is what we're talking about. This is stunning, the level of stupidity. Women deserve that even playing field and chance to compete. One that can only be achieved by ensuring that only females compete in women's sports. We urge you to follow the lead of the NAIA and the Court of Arbitration for Sport and adopt policies that protect women's sports. Now, you got to understand something. The NCAA went out and, Charlie Baker is the most liberal. Liberal. You know what I mean? And frankly, as the most liberal place, or as the most liberal guy, he ain't doing this. Because look at it. Every Democrat in Congress, i.e. liberal, guess what they did? They voted against it. They couldn't vote for it. You think Charlie Baker's going against his constituency? He is not. Charlie Baker took the job, and they were so desperate at the NCAA to get a liberal in there, he hasn't moved to Indianapolis from Massachusetts. Think about that for a second. You got $1 million a year job right here in Indianapolis, big building, all the people that you work with, and Charlie Baker hasn't moved. It's insanity. It's crazy. It's nuts. It's disgusting. It's backwards. I talk about it on Gaines for Girls with Riley Gaines. I just did her episode, and I talk about this very thing. How have we gone so backwards? How instead of, you could even say the WNBA has jumped forward because of Caitlin Clark. There it is. I'm on that with special guest Dan Dakich. I hate my head. I'm going to get a toupee next week. But anyway, I can't stand the fact that we're going so backwards. And our lawmakers get away with it. It's amazing. Minnesota governor and far-left crazy person Tim Walz is now officially Kamala Harris's running mate in the 2024 election. Here are some of the sound bites from the governor that showcases how much of a left-wing, crazy, dumb-ass, ridiculously weird whack job this guy is. Here's one of them. You got about 3 of them.
It's done.
A packed room at the St. Paul Armory erupted after the governor's signature made driver's license for all the law of the land.
So if you're an illegal immigrant, you can get a driver's license. So you can come here illegally, which means you're a criminal, and you can get a driver's license. And this guy thinks it's a good thing. This guy thinks it's a really good thing. This guy's nuts. He's completely out of his mind. He's completely crazy. I mean, if you think this is a good thing, what is wrong with you? I don't want to be driving in a city where people don't know how to drive. Driver's license for illegal immigrants. Anyway, next.
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey has consistently said what he told us on June 2nd.
I will speak the truth. And the truth is that on Wednesday, around 6 p.m., I called the governor and asked for the National Guard.
Text messages and emails from the mayor's office for Wednesday, May 27th back that up.
He didn't give the National Guard for 3 days. They let Minneapolis burn. His dumbass, crazy-ass left wife said, I kept the windows open so I can hear it burn. See, here's the problem with that. I get it. You know, you want to be so woke. You want to be down to clown, police brutality, all that stuff. But so many innocent businesses and businessmen and employees lost the opportunity to work. Burned to the ground, lifetime dreams burned. And this lady brags, his wife, brags about opening her windows and smelling it all happen. These people are evil. You know, you got a city that's burning. You got a mayor calling for help, and you got a governor, and everybody tells me, you know, we're of service, right? Everybody's supposed to be of service. When you are in politics, you're supposed to be serving the people. All right, some fentanyl-ridden guy that robbed pregnant women, beat up pregnant women, blah, 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 blah. It was police brutality. They're dealing with that. They dealt with it. But you're going to let people that have for years and years and years struggled, saved, operating businesses, lose their business, get it burned to the ground? You're going to let people die. You're going to let fires rage on people's houses. You're going to let long-standing economic communities die because what? Because why? Because of your ego? And your wife is so evil that she opened the windows to hear the rubber, smell the fire, and watch it burn. These are people's lives. See, in Indianapolis, this is kind of personal to me. I have two friends that had businesses downtown. They can't reopen. We had the same chicken blank, but ours was a mayor. Our mayor said, no, we're not doing nothing. We're going to let idiots, looters, robbers, thugs come in. And Chris Beatty died. Chris Beatty didn't die as a result of the riots themselves. He died of the after. Chris Beatty was considered Mr. Indiana, an African-American male, by the way, who was helping break a robbery up of a woman when two thugs killed him during the riots in Indianapolis. But nobody really cares. They all, the newspaper and everybody else talked about Chris Beatty. Everybody in the newspaper talked about it for a couple days. And then, of course, the same old crap. And the same old newspapers want the same people in office. Same people that let it burn. Our mayor was allegedly drunk as hell or in rehab, one of the two, depending on who you talk to. I asked a cop. I said, where was he? He goes, everything you've heard is true. The cop that was in charge that night, he also said, what is true is they're told to stand down. And this woman, this evil woman, did not care about anything other than a woke agenda. Some maniac, George Floyd, some fentanyl-induced criminal, died tragically. Didn't need to happen. Didn't need to happen that he did the things that he did. Didn't need to happen that he died. But that's no excuse for people hundreds of miles away losing their homes, losing their businesses. It's not. It's just not. And these people are evil. I mean, they are straight out evil. And if you vote for them, God bless you. If you vote for them, then you're bringing evil into our world. Here is Walz fully admitting he's a socialist.
But we can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
Okay. All right. Well, it is the standard left-wing ideology of the time, but I don't know where socialism and neighborliness. I mean, look, here's the deal. Social ownership, really? I mean, the American way is bust your ass. Now you got to help people that are less fortunate, but the American way is to bust your ass, get ahead. You know, these idiots, Kamala Harris wants us all to end up in the same spot. So you're telling me I'm supposed to bust my ass. And next thing you know, who am I supposed to give money to? So some clown that doesn't want to bust his ass can end up in the same spot as me. That's not what America was built on. It's not. And this fat, was a football coach. No, he wasn't. He does same old thing. He went 95 and a 55, got a DUI, had some money, right? Had some money, a big personality, kissed the ass of a constituency. This guy wasn't no football coach. I know he won a state championship. You're going to tell me. No, he didn't. Nah, he didn't. He got lucky. He had a bunch of probably pretty good players in a lesser division, and they ended up winning. This guy can't lead blind turkeys to take a shit. Can't. Now, you can say I'm wrong about it. He's been governor, and I haven't been, and that's fine. But this is my strength. I can read and I can listen. Anybody that wants to put tampons in boys' locker rooms is out of their mind. Anybody that wants socialism, communism here in the United States is out of their mind. Anybody that says, hey, look, snitch on your neighbor, snitch on everybody else, and then tells everybody, hey, look, mind your own business, is just a liar. He's just another in a long line of liar, and I'm sad about it. I don't care. I've told you before, I'm not a Republican and I'm not a Democrat. I'm a pay attention. I'm a pay attention guy. And in paying attention, if you vote for these two idiots, you are as dumb as them. Actually, dumber. They have to do it. They're career politicians. There's nothing else these two can do. There isn't. I mean, think about it. You're going to hire the guy that tells you socialism is great. You're going to hire the guy that ran out on his troops when they got deployed to Iraq. He ran away and lied about it for 20 years. That's who you're going to hire. You're going to hire Kamala Harris. Yeah, maybe as an escort to a prom. Maybe as an escort to the opera. Hell yeah, make her Pretty Woman. But you're going to hire that cackling idiot to do anything? No, they have to have this. Trump doesn't have to have it. That's what people miss. Trump doesn't have to have this. He's a billionaire, not taking any money. And guess what? He doesn't have to have however many indictments, stand up in a court of law, put his hand on a Bible. He doesn't have to have people coming at him. He doesn't have to have the backstabbing by the black community, black leaders anyway, who have said, hey, look, now you're a racist because you're a Republican. You certainly weren't when we were asking you for money as a Democrat, but now, oh, you're racist. We've seen the pictures. We've seen the articles. We've seen the stories. We've seen Whoopi Goldberg and others hugging. Anyway, long story short, it's just sad. But if you vote for him, you know what? I'm going to live in my little thing here, mind my own business, and laugh. Because you get what you vote for. We got it here in Indianapolis when we hired this guy Hogsett. Now we got a downtown that we got to fake make look good. True story. We put up billboards or we put up plywood, and on that plywood, they paint pictures to make it look like a business is open. That's a true story. Nah, it's ridiculous. Do what you want.